Minister Siarto, dear Peter, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you today in Hungary, a nation that, under the leadership of Prime Minister Orban and Minister Siarto, has become a symbol of strategic confidence, renewal, and sovereign innovation at the heart of Europe. I thank our hosts for their warm welcome and for creating a forum where bold thinking is not just allowed, but expected. As someone who lives at the crossroads of diplomacy and academia, I value these moments. We need more spaces where we can speak clearly about Europe, yes, but more importantly, about the kind of future we are prepared to build. The theme of this year's dialogue, Atlantic Rising, Time for Another European Century, poses a timely and urgent challenge. The global order is shifting fast. Old assumptions are falling away. The architecture we inherited is showing its cracks. So if we want to answer that question with honesty, we must begin not with nostalgia, but with clarity. Europe must not aim to preserve the status quo. Europe must aim to lead. For my country, the European project has never been just a destination. It has been our compass. As a NATO ally, a committed EU candidate, and a steadfast transatlantic partner, we have placed our faith in the idea that integration is not just surrender, it is strength, that alliances should not be burdens, but rather guarantees of peace and progress. Our NATO accession in 2020 was a milestone, but our EU path remains open-ended, not because of lack of alignment or resolve on our side, but because of uncertainty within the Union itself. So let me be direct. We want to join the European Union, but not a union of indecision or drift. We want to be part of a European Union that acts with purpose, speaks with conviction, and leads with confidence. Throughout this journey, one constant has guided us: our people. The Macedonian people have paid the price of patience and of compromise. But there are lines we will not cross because they define who we are. Our language, our identity, and our cultural and historical continuity are not negotiable. They are the soul of our nation. And while we do remain fully committed to integration, we are equally committed to defending our dignity and our right to be who we are, without condition, without apology, and without erasure. This is not a posture of defiance. It is a posture of self-respect. And any future we build in Europe must rest on mutual recognition and trust, not on the rewriting of history or the imposition of forced narratives. From this foundation, we look outward in a world that is becoming more transactional, more contested, and less forgiving of weakness. Here, sovereignty is not a nostalgic concept. It is the basis for meaningful cooperation. Europe must remain open, but not exposed, cooperative, but not complacent, ambitious, but not detached from the will of its people. The European Union must recommit to subsidiarity. It must defend its diversity of models and empower nations to govern in line with the voices of their citizens, especially the often silent but deeply grounded majority who wants stability, opportunity, and identity. My nation stands for this vision. We are pro-European, but sovereign-minded, open, but principled, reformist, yet rooted in tradition. And while Europe recalibrates, one enduring truth does remain. The transatlantic alliance is still one of the greatest constants of our age. And constancy in times of uncertainty is power. We applaud the Trump administration for its diplomacy anchored in values and peace, especially in regions such as ours, where tensions linger and choices do matter. This is not just a sentiment, it is history. Without transatlantic resolve, the Western Balkans would not have moved from conflict to stability. Without American and European unity, we would not have turned from past to future. Now, as the US rebalances towards new frontiers, from the Indo-Pacific to the Middle East to emerging technological domains, Europe must do more than just adjust. It must step up. A stronger Europe, strategically minded, globally respected, is not a counterweight to the United States of America. It is its natural partner. For the European project to remain meaningful, it must rediscover its purpose, not through top-down uniformity, but through bottom-up unity. Internally, it must value diversity not as a liability, but as a strength. Externally, it must put enlargement back at the heart of its mission. My country, fully aligned with the EU CFSP, surrounded by EU members and a contributor to regional peace, remains in the waiting room, not because of merit, but because of politics. This is not just disappointing, it is strategically short-sighted. The Western Balkans is not Europe's backyard. We are Europe's foundation. And Europe's ability to act decisively in our region will be the measure of its geopolitical maturity. Europe's prosperity has long rested on openness and trade. But in today's environment, interdependence can be used as a leverage and, at times, even as a weapon. For my country, where over 70% of the trade flows to the European Union, this is not theoretical, it is real. We welcome, for example, the growth plan for the Western Balkans. We are ready to deepen integration with the single market. But let's be honest, market access is not enough. What Europe truly needs is strategic resilience. This means investing not only in roads and grids, but in research, in talent, in secure supply chains, and critical technologies. AI, quantum, green energy, these are no longer luxuries. They are the battlegrounds of tomorrow's economy. And here too, the Western Balkans must not be treated as a peripheral consumer. We are ready to contribute and be builders to Europe's next industrial era. So let me return to the question. Is this the time for another European century? Yes, but only if Europe finds the courage to lead, not just in rhetoric, in results. Not just in values spoken, but in values lived. Not just in lofty goals, but in real, tangible action. My nation and our region are ready. We are not asking for charity, we are asking for clarity. Enlargement, transatlantic unity, strategic economy, economic resilience, these are not separate tasks. They are one challenge, one mission, one future. If we embrace it together, Europe will not just rise, it will lead. Thank you.